I want to start today without cushioning anything because March is no longer cushioning anything. If you're still saying, don't know how to set boundaries, I'm still healing, it's hard for me, that's just how I am. I want you to hear this gently but clearly. At this point, it's not that you can't, it's that you're not choosing to. And that doesn't make you bad. It makes you honest, but it also means something has shifted. We are in March 2026, in a universal year 1 and an energy body 3 month. This combination removes plausible deniability because energy body 3 is the positive mind, the part of you that knows, not hopes, not wishes, but knows. And year 1 is the year of identity. So the question is no longer, why don't I have boundaries? The question is, who am I when I don't use the awareness I already have? And that's confronting, and it's meant to be. Here's the truth most people avoid. Boundaries are not about knowing what to say. They are about what you do after you know better. And by March 2026, you do know better. You know when you're overgiving, when you're saying yes to avoid discomfort, when you're explaining yourself unnecessarily, when you're overriding your own limits, and when your resentment is building. That awareness doesn't come out of nowhere. It came from growth, which means the season of innocence is over. And that's not a punishment, it's initiation. Year 1 doesn't initiate people who are still unconscious. It initiates people who are ready to act on what they already see. So if boundaries still feel messy right now, it's not because you're unhealed. It's because you're standing at the threshold where self-respect must become behavioural, not conceptual, not aspirational, behavioural. So let's slow this down for a moment because the ego will want to argue. The nervous system might want to contract. So take a breath. This is not about blame. It's about authority. Authority over your time. Authority over your energy. Authority over your yeses and your nos. And energy body 3 governs authority through choice, not force, choice. So today's transmission is not about healing boundaries. It's about recognizing where you already know and deciding whether you're willing to stand by yourself now. Because March is not asking you for more insight. It's asking for alignment between awareness and action. Now, if you're new here, hi, I'm Cherry. I'm a spiritual life coach, energy body healer, an energy alchemist. Now, we need to talk about the part most people avoid because awareness feels like progress. Insight feels like healing. Understanding feels like movement. But awareness without action is still self-abandonment. It's just a more sophisticated version of it. And March makes that impossible to spiritualize away. There was a time when you didn't know, when you genuinely couldn't see the pattern, when you didn't recognize the cost of overgiving, when you thought your exhaustion was just who you were. In that phase, compassion was the medicine. But you're not there anymore. You see it now. You feel it in your bones before you say yes. You notice the resentment forming before you ignore it. You sense the boundary crossing as it's happening. That moment right there is energy body 3 online. That's the positive mind saying this isn't aligned. And when you override that moment, something important happens. Your body learns, I will not protect you. Not because you're cruel, but because you choose comfort over self-respect. This is why this energy feels sharper, because energy body 3 is not emotional, it's ethical. It governs inner authority. And inner authority means when you know, you act. Not dramatically, not aggressively, but decisively. Here's the part people don't like hearing. You don't lose boundaries because you're unhealed. You lose boundaries because you don't want to disappoint. You don't want to be seen as difficult. You don't want to deal with the fallout. And you don't want to sit in the discomfort. So you choose short-term relief over long-term integrity. That choice does not make you weak, but it does shape your identity. And in a universal year 1, identity formation is everything. Year 1 doesn't ask, why do you struggle? It asks, who are you choosing to be now that you know? And energy body 3 doesn't accept excuses that once made sense because growth has moved you forward. So let's name this clearly and gently. You cannot heal self-trust while repeatedly overriding yourself. You cannot build confidence while abandoning your own limits. You cannot step into authority while asking others to approve your boundaries. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're reaching the edge where behavior must catch up to awareness. So ask yourself honestly, where am I still calling this healing when it's actually avoidance? No judgment, just truth. Because truth is what Energy Body 3 responds to. And here's the reframe that brings this back into empowerment. This is not a problem. This is a promotion point. You are no longer learning boundaries. You're learning to live them. And that is a very different initiation. This is where most people get stuck. They think boundaries are something you say, what to say, how to say it, saying it nicely, saying it clearly, saying it without guilt. But boundaries are not primarily verbal. Boundaries are behavioural. They are revealed by what you do repeatedly, not what you explain once. Energy Body 3 doesn't measure intention. It measures follow-through. You can say, I need more space, but if you keep replying immediately, you can say, I'm trying to rest more. But if you keep overbooking yourself, you can say, I'm working on boundaries. But if you keep tolerating the same behaviour, your nervous system learns one thing. Your words are flexible. Your limits are negotiable. And that's not because you're lying. It's because your behaviour is louder than language. Here's the uncomfortable truth March brings forward. People don't cross your boundaries because they don't understand them. They cross them because nothing changes when they do. And again, this isn't blame. It's clarity. Energy Body 3 governs cause and effect in your self-relationship. It says, what happens when I say no? What happens when I hold the line? What happens when I don't? If nothing changes when you say no, your system doesn't experience safety. If consequences don't follow awareness, authority collapses internally. And that's why boundaries feel exhausting, because you're trying to hold them mentally instead of structurally. Let's make this very grounded. Boundary work looks like leaving when something feels off, not responding immediately, not explaining repeatedly, changing your availability, removing access, not arguing, doing what you said you would, not dramatically, not cruel, just consistent. Consistency is the boundary. This is why Energy Body 3 is active in March, because Energy Body 3 asks, what patterns are you reinforcing with your actions? Not once, not occasionally, repeatedly. And the Universal Year 1 amplifies this, because this is the year your pattern becomes your identity. Not what you say you value, what you demonstrate your value. Here's a question that cuts through all the noise. If someone watched my behaviour for a week, what would they think my boundaries are? Not what I believe, not what I intend, what I live. That question doesn't shame, it reveals. And revelation is where power returns. This is also where people realise something big. Setting boundaries is not about convincing others. It's about backing yourself. You don't need better wording. You need behavioural alignment. And once behaviour aligns, words become minimal, because it means you don't need to fix yourself. You need to change a pattern. And patterns can be changed. Before we go, take a moment to notice something. If anything in this video stirred you, if you felt seen, called out, steadied, or even slightly uncomfortable, that's not random. That's your system responding to truth. And if this kind of grounded, no-nonsense spiritual guidance supports you, I would love for you to like this video, because it helps this work reach the people who need it. Subscribe so you stay connected to these videos as we move through this year of initiation together. And comment below, even one word. Let me know what landed for you or where you're choosing stability. Consistently or stronger behaviours this month. This isn't passive content. It's a practice, a relationship, a recalibration. And the more you engage with it, the more it works with you. I'm glad you're here. Let's keep building this steadily, consciously, together. Until next time, bye for now.